Hello, beautiful people. My name is Malebo Oljonzindi. I am a holistic wellness coach, and my mandate in life is to help people be well. I work with the mind, the body, and the spirit. The wellness of the mind, the body, and the spirit. And welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're talking about sex and the church. And for those of you who have been asking, why Malebo? Why do you like really to talk about sex? It's because I love it. That is the reason, and I really want to talk about it. Yes, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So let's talk about sex and the church. As we all know, sex is prohibited in the church if you are not married. So after marriage, you can have sex as much as you like. We were given the permit. Permit, border, you can have it as much as you like. But for people who are not married, and you cannot do that. So does it mean that Malebo, as a married person, didn't indulge in sex before she got married? There's a lie. Guys, no. I have indulged in sex before marriage, and there were times when I feel like I'm guilty, and there were times like I'm like, no, this is who I am, and I'm not trying to promote sin to other people, but I'm just being real. This is me. This is my life. I'm not going to try and be holy and act holy that I haven't had sex outside of marriage. I did a lot. Okay. So the church, the law governing Christianity says we cannot do that. We are not supposed to do that. But at the same time, there are people like us who are born again, who are in the leadership. They are also indulging in sex before marriage, and this is what I want to talk about. Ne? So now I'm married, guys. I have the permit, but by that time I was not married. I was just, stealing this thing, this fruit. All right, so there are people who have a desire to be in leadership, and they take up that thing. They become, they are in the leadership of the church, like they're in praise and worship team, they are in whatever. As for myself, I just decided to back down when it comes to the leadership of the church, because I feel like I've got my human errors, and while people are looking at me, when you are a leader in a certain, category, in a certain thing, like in the church, there's a whole lot of expectation that people are looking at you and they're like, oh, if Malebo is in the leadership and she can drink, so it means that I can drink as well. Or if she can do this, I can do this. So I don't want to lead people into sin. Like we say, I don't want to lead people into sin. So I just decided not to be in the leadership right now. Maybe later I will be, but right now I feel like I'm not ready, baby. I'm not yet ready. All right. So this is the thing, guys. So people get into the leadership, but they do have their human errors. They're not like me, like I want to be perfect in order for me to be in the leadership, or I need to be ready or whatever. They just go and they become leaders. And unfortunately, in the process, especially for women, let's just talk about women, because these are the people that now you can see the sin is evident. So obviously in the church, like I said, you are not supposed to have sex before marriage. So there are people who are in the leadership and who are not married, and they become pregnant in the process. Some people do abort the babies because they want to keep up with the standard, right? So that people cannot see the evidence, the sin that is inside. You can't see it unless maybe you are a prophet, and then God shows you that Malebo is doing type of a sin. But other than that, you can't see that Malebo is actually sinning. I'm doing this so that I at least have the light. Okay, so that's that. And some people get pregnant and they don't have the guts to do an abortion, right? So they keep the baby, and when they keep the baby, then we can see that Sister Mamang has sinned. Hey, Sister Mamang is eating the fruit without permission, without the written letter. So it's not a joke, guys. So I've actually seen how a lot of women have are full of shame through this process, because you are in the leadership and now you are pregnant, you are sinning. I just don't know if you when while people are having sex, do they feel like that, or they feel like that because now the sin is evident. Asas. So yeah, and I want to talk about these two women that I have seen. I'm not going to mention their names, obviously. So this other lady at church, she got pregnant, and I think she is in some other ministry. And what bothered me was that I think she wanted to come to church, but obviously she was pregnant, and she didn't want to for people to see that she was pregnant. So she kept on wearing these big things, those big things so that you cannot see. And the way she was walking, how people, when they're trying to hide pregnancy, and she was walking like, and now I see, I think the son is very old, if not 3 years. I see that she came back, and she's now active, and she's now confident. And the other lady who, I think she's also in the leadership, but not in my church, and she got pregnant, and she was full of shame and guilt that, I'm pregnant, And what I want to emphasize is that, guys, I know that, sex before marriage is a sin. And, that one, maybe the pastors will tackle it very, but let me talk about this one now. So when you pregnant and you are carrying a life inside of you, remember, whatever that you eat, right? Whatever that you eat, it goes to this human being, right? So they eat through your umbilical cord, right? And when whatever emotions, and I'm not talking about emotions that comes with pregnancy, but I mean the man-made emotions, because of what you have been taught, right? That is why you are feeling guilty. And maybe, yes, it's good that you are feeling guilty, but unfortunately, there's nothing that you can do. You can't return the baby, And so here's the thing, your baby, your unborn baby, is feeding from those negative emotions. So they are feeding from guilt and shame. Guess what? When they grow up, you will be asking yourself, why are you behaving like this? Because none of us are behaving like this at home, or at from your father's place. They are not behaving like this. Why are you behaving like that? Because those negative emotions have manifested into something else. And that's what we don't understand. They have manifested into something else. And now your child is behaving like you. Who is this? Why did he come on earth, or why did she come on earth? Because of the things that, or the emotion that you had, the burdens of emotions that you had on your shoulders, because you were guilty that you have sinned. You were guilty that people can see the evidence of your sin, that you are not holy as you used to maybe show to other people who were acting so holy. And then now the sin is evident that how this sister is not holy. So I really don't know how you're going to resolve this, as a church. But what I want to emphasize is that I want you to be very observant of the things that you are feeding your baby with, right? And yes, you have sinned, but why can't we teach ourselves? Why can't we educate ourselves as to why sex is a sin? Because how our minds are being wired, né? If you are a human being, né? And then somebody tells you not to do something, your mind will want to do that. Look at us during this lockdown, right? Now we are told that we cannot drink alcohol. Hey, people are finding ways of making alcohol. If they can open the liquor stores, you'll be surprised that people won't be looking for alcohol the way they are looking for it. Even cigarette, even, going out. The first day of lockdown, there was, queues and queues of people, trying to rebel from what the government was saying. Because the human mind, whenever you tell it don't, that is where it wants. So I think as a church, we need to explain to people why they cannot do certain things. I also see it with my son. My son likes going to the bathroom to go and, put his hand inside of that's gross, right? But because we always protecting him to go there, he always goes. If you don't close the door, then he will get in and then he will do that thing. So that is how we are wired. Every time when somebody is telling you not to have sex before marriage, you go and you have sex before marriage, and you find that out. What was a sin here? There's nothing. Nothing is a sin. I mean, I just had sex and I'm fine. There's nothing. I don't feel like there's something that has been taken away from me. And you do it and you do it. Before you know it, sex is now an addiction. And now you are in the leadership of the church. You have to keep up with the standard. And remember, when you are keeping up with the standard, that is not your standard. Then there is somewhere that is going to come out. The truth is going to come out. So let us educate ourselves as a church, as the people of this generation, why God said, we mustn't have sex before marriage. Because I think if we can understand that, then we can do better, because again, as a human being, you want sex. But there are times when you become so horny. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that emotion? To some people, they don't know how to control the emotion, because it comes with any other human being. Whether you are saved, you are holy, you are not, you're going to church, everybody comes with that. And sometimes we look at some people's pictures on social media and we see that that's, I can eat, but it's a human mind. And yes, we are told that we need to operate from the spirit, but hey, things are happening outside there. That is why people are getting pregnant in the process. So how about we educate ourselves as to why God didn't want us to have sex before marriage? And then when we understand the why power, then it will be good that, okay, fine, I know the why. So when you know the why, even when you're doing your goal setting, when you know why you want something, then you will go for it. So when you know why you shouldn't have sex, then you will know, okay, fine, even if I have this emotion, you know what, I'm going to pray, I'm going to whatever that you do, okay? And then the second other thing, guys, that I want to talk about is the fact that there are men in the leadership who would make women pregnant, and then they do not, when you are pregnant as a woman, I think they take you out or whatever, or you decide that you're no longer going to come to church. I mean, some people are like, oh, I'm shameful and I don't want to be in the church anymore. I need to, work on myself again to come back, right? But there are men who are also impregnating. Hey, the poor making other women pregnant in the church. They are in the leadership of the church, but they do not now come out and say, hey, pastor, I have made a woman pregnant. And I think that is how, as a church, as people would see that we are so, okay, maybe saying two-sided, we have a side where we are at church and we are so holy, and then we have the other side that's us actually. It's just at the church we are just keeping up with the standard. But if you are true and honest to yourself, then you would also go to your pastor and say, hey, I have sinned. And then they do the works that they need to do. I don't know. I've never been pregnant and I've never been in leadership. So I have been pregnant. What am I saying? I haven't been pregnant outside of marriage. And again, I haven't been in the leadership of the church. So I don't know what is it that needs to be done when somebody is pregnant. But all I'm saying is that you guys as well, you need to help your women and come forth and say, yes, I'm going to go through this journey with you because I made you pregnant. Even if your woman is not into the leader, it is not into leadership, but you can also say it, just, being honest, being like a man of God that you say that you are. you know, and you say to the pastor that I have sinned. I don't know if it's going to change anything, but you know, Luena, you must go out, step down as a leader. if that's what makes people happy. But the bottom line of my message is that can we also educate ourselves with sex before marriage? Because a lot of people in the church, outside of the church, everywhere, we are having sex before marriage. There are people who have been in the church. We have children outside of marriage, you know, and we just, you know, we're looking down at them, and just because us, we had children outside in the marriage, now people are starting to, you know, view you as you are holy. No, I'm not holy, guys. I've got my human errors. I'm not holy. But what I want to emphasize is that can we go back to educating ourselves about sex before marriage? Why do we not have sex before marriage? Why can we not have sex before marriage? If I have the emotion and the feeling and whatever that I have in order for me to have sex, why can't I also indulge in sex? Why did God give me this emotion or this feeling before marriage? Why can't he give me that feeling after marriage? Let us talk, Bazaran. Let us talk. All right? Okay, comment there. It will say, you know, help other people understand what is sex and why sex was made, and what should we do with the emotion of sex. If I have that emotion of sex and I'm not married, what should I do? What should I do? I think next time I should talk about sex in the marriage with other people. Hey, border. I think that's what I should talk about. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Malibu Old John Cindy, a holistic wellness coach. I work with the wholeness, the wellness of the mind, the body, and the spirit. And on Saturday, on the 9th of May, I will be hosting an online introduction class to my coaching program and mentorship called Finding Yourself, but to Lamudi. So be on there. All right, subscribe.